Is Denise joining us? Do we know?
Denise is aware of the meeting. She asked me today. I thought she was going to be on. I believe Hubbard's city council meeting is tonight as well. Don't quote me on that. And then Eric Eugenio emailed me, said he won't be attending. And Miley, I think, is at the Eldora city council meeting. She'll be here as soon as she can.
Okay, sounds good. Well, we do have the minutes from the September meeting. I would take a motion to approve those. And the one thing that I would add is, and I'll convey this to Denise's, we really do need to see who was attending the meeting. So who was actually present for the meeting, because we do use that to sometimes decide who's eligible for funds and who's not. So
that would have been my fault on those minutes, Corey. I'm the one that took those last meeting.
Oh yeah, that's no problem. And we'll be able to get it from the recording, and the Zoom will be able to tell us who was on. So, but do I have a motion to approve the minutes, or are there any changes or additions?
I'll motion to approve, Corey.
Marla, is there a second?
Yeah.
Jesse Gardner, second. Is there any additional discussion on the minutes? I do have one question at the end. It's probably not material, but motion from Eric with a second from Mark. Was that supposed to be Marla? Or I don't know who Mark is.
I'm thinking
Marla, did you?
I believe it was Marla. Looking at my notes now.
Marla's usually ready to end these things, so I figured it was her. So if we just want to make that, if we would want to make that correction. Hold on one second. Melanie Kinsinger said she needs the link. I'm going to send that out to her real quick.
I'm on the phone with her right now, Corey.
Oh, do you want to send it to her, Ben?
Yep, I did.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. All right. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Nay. Minutes are approved. Marla, treasurer's report, please.
It's there on the paper. Hold on, let me pull it up here.
Hey, Thomas, if you give me administrator privileges, I could put that up on the screen for us.
Oh, shoot, the wrong one. Okay, so let's see. Our regular council checkbook, the ending balance right now is $10,298.82. Hardin County Symposium, which is going to be moved into we're just going to move everything into one checking account. That's $56.29. The Earl Reese Scholarship Savings Account is $1,372.17. And then the Earl Reese Scholarship CD is $1,289.48.
Any questions for Marla?
And Corey and I are going to have a new form that's going to be a fillable PDF to send out to everybody for requests for classes and reimbursement and everything. So look for that to come soon.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Make said motion. Ben?
Ben, second?
Chair, I'll go again.
Jesse will second that again. Any discussion on the treasurer's report? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. All right, treasurer's report is approved. Do we have any bills that anyone needs to submit or share with us tonight? I would ask that we do as we've done for the past several years, which is give blanket approval for anyone from the county that wants to attend the, it's actually the Wisconsin EMS Association Conference online this year, which is replacing the IAMSA conference in Des Moines. We typically have done that, so folks who want to partake in the conference don't have to individually ask for pre-approval for that.
I have a question too about students taking the EMT class that's going to happen next spring. And I don't know if now is a good time to ask that or not, but I've got one student I'm pretty sure of, and possibly two. So how do I, or how does our, I guess I'm kind of, how do we get those requests approved, or what do I do?
So this is something that Marla and I had discussed, and we probably need to open this up to the whole council as well. So the way the policy currently stands, you are able to ask for a fourth of the cost up front.
Right.
Another fourth once they have completed the actual class, and then the remaining half after they've become state certified.
Okay.
So, but very few people really do that. And so we wonder if it wouldn't just be simpler to have services wait until the student becomes state certified and then just pay that whole amount back at once. It
Sure.
just seems like a lot of paperwork that needs to be shuffled around for the treasurer to be able to get that. And really, you know, by the time a city or a service has paid for it, getting a quarter up front probably isn't a real deal breaker for them. So I'm inclined to agree with Marla that we could just do it once, you know, at the end of the class, once they're actually certified.
Excellent. So my question is, how do I, if I have two students and I want to ask for approval, do I do that tonight, or how do I do that to get us in the queue?
So there's actually not even a pre-approval process for initial education. That's just one of our automatics. So
Okay.
that's one of the things that we always pay first is initial education. So it's kind of nice if you let us know,
Absolutely.
you know, how many students you're going to have, just so we can look at our budget and make sure that everything fits in there for that. But there's not actually pre-approval required for that initial education.
Okay. Thanks.
I think we had them, I think we always had them fill out the request form.
Yeah, we
And then-
did, Marla.
Yeah, and then I just kept a hold of it, so that we, you know, like, we can keep them in order, because what if we have too many students for what the money we have?
Right.
So I would think the first people that requested would be first on the list. Well,
I
all of
would
it.
argue that probably, but
I think it's divided between all of them, isn't it? However much money we have.
well, I would think so. I mean, I think where that would get really difficult is, so if you have a student that took the class a year and a half ago and they still haven't tested and whatever, are you going to prohibit paying for somebody who took it, you know, the year after or this year, because you're still waiting to know whether you have to pay for that student that hasn't tested in 2 years? That, I think that could get kind of dicey for us.
But I think as long as we have that request in, like, if you send the request in so that I have them, so that we know exactly what we've got to pay for at the end of the fiscal year, so we can make sure we save money for that.
So,
And then you
So
can tell them that they,
go ahead, Mel.
I was gonna say, and by keeping those sheets, it just is easy to see what students are currently enrolled. And then, you know, if a new class comes up, you can say, you know, hey, new class is coming up. make sure when you finish your class, get your testing done right away. So there shouldn't be an issue if they're taking the initiative to get it done right away.
So if that's what we want, if that's how we want it to go, I think we need to formalize that and make people know, because I don't think it's ever been an actual requirement that somebody ask for the money up front. We've allowed people to wait until the class ended to request the money. Like, for example, the class that just ended in Iowa Falls, we haven't requested money for anyone yet because we haven't had anybody that would get county money back pass.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with that if that's what we want, if we think that would be helpful to have that information up front in a formal request. But I just think if we're going to do that, we should make sure that's in the minutes and people know.
Now easier right at the start to keep track, and then our job as a council, we could make sure that
Did anyone else get anything that Mel just said?
I think I kind of got the
Right.
gist. I do think it would be good to have them fill out a form. We always did because we paid a quarter up front. And then.
If they requested it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it would be nice to have those sheets at the start of their class. That way I've got them in a folder of a class that these are the things that we might have coming up for the fiscal year. So it kind of gives us an idea instead of just getting surprised with it.
Corey, are you asking for a
Does the-
motion?
I think not yet, but momentarily. So Marla, walk me through what happens then. Like for last year, theoretically, Iowa Falls could have requested what? We had 17 students at one point. We could have requested money for all 17 of those students. Would that have then
Well,
made us say we're not taking on any other new students till we know what's going on with those 17 students?
well, possibly. I mean, if we have $20,000 wrapped up, but we don't have that kind of money, there could be a possibility. Well, they only get partially paid then at the fiscal year, I believe is how it was. But those
So far,
17
this is go ahead.
those 17 students, each service would have to request of wherever the services that they belong to. They would have to request the money. Because most of the time we're saying that the services are paying for it.
Right. But I guess what I'm saying is I'd be more inclined if we think there's going to come a time where there's a limit, which we've never had that happen where we didn't have enough money to pay for everyone that wanted to take the class. But if that happened, I guess I'd feel more inclined to start giving out the money based on the people who finished the class and got certified first.
Right. And
I think that,
sorry, I think our bylaws actually stated like we'd pay the whole first responder class, and then we'd pay like half of the BMT class. And then at the end of the fiscal year, we would pay the other half. If there was enough money, we would pay whatever money we had. There was
yeah,
something.
I remember something like that. Are you sure that's bylaws though, or was that just a policy?
No, I'm pretty sure it was in the bylaws at one point, but I could be wrong.
Well, I would suggest we definitely want to revisit that then, because I think we need to be paying for EMT classes, people who are able to actually work on transporting services and attend to patients for sure. I guess there's a lot of things going on here at once. So how do we feel about, first of all, do we want to just wait to pay for the entire class until they've become certified? Do away with the quarter, half. Is everyone in agreement with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. That's the first piece. The second piece, do we require that people let us know up front that they have students who are taking the class? That was Marla's suggestion. Do we want to formalize that?
Yes, I think we need to plan for that.
Okay, great. So those two pieces, we'll try to put all this into a motion here when we get done. And then the third piece is if we ever get to the point where we don't have enough money to pay for all of the folks who are getting the training, do we want to say that we are prioritizing those who get certified first? That's how we would order who gets paid. And then if
Well, but
somebody
if you're
didn't
going by
get
the
paid,
first-
go ahead, Denise.
If you're going by the first part of your motion, it wouldn't be eligible to submit the cost of until they became EMT state certified. So that's, otherwise then the individual service is going to have to work with the city council or whoever they can to have that money repaid.
Right, and that's kind of been our policy for quite a few years, where it used to be that we would pay things up front, and then we had people that just never tested and never got certified.
Right.
So that's where we really tried to get more buy-in from the local services and have them pony up the cash up front, knowing full well that if they motivated their students to pass, that we would pay for the class at the end. So I was just concerned because of Marla was kind of saying we would keep that list of people in order that they submitted that they were going to become a student. And I just want to make sure we're not going to like have some student who takes the class a year after other students, gets certified, and have us say, well, we can't quite pay for your class yet because we have these 10 students from last year that haven't passed their test yet.
I think
Right.
it's,
I'd like to
I mean,
prioritize
even-
those who get certified and are ready to serve.
yeah, I think it'd be a
Right.
first come, first serve. As soon as you're registered, nationally registered, here's your money no matter where you are on that line. Like you said, I'm not going to waste my time on somebody that, goes a year and a half without testing.
How does everyone else feel about that? Are we also in agreement on that at this point? That we pay in the order that the request comes after they're certified.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. Okay.
I would make a motion.
Okay. I was going to say, does somebody want to put this into a motion for us?
I will. I'll make a motion that individual services pay for the education of EMT students, and upon the completion and certification of state certified EMT, they can submit those expenses to the EMS council.
I'll
Okay.
second said
Typing
motion.
it out for us here in a second.
While Corey's typing, I'm going to be rude and sit and eat in front of you all.
Yep. So I think I typed out what Denise said. Does that look good, Denise?
I can't see anything typed out.
It's in the chat. It's in the chat. You'll have to click on the chat at the bottom, like
sorry.
below your face there.
Gotcha. Yes.
Okay. And
Mhm.
there was a second by someone.
Ben seconds it.
Ben. Okay. Any discussion on this motion?
No, for me, there's no discussion, only then to say, I understand what Marla's saying. It might be nice just as a courtesy if we let the council know how many students we're anticipating paying. So maybe, I don't think we need anything formally since we've been fortunate enough not to have trouble where we've run out of money. But I do think it's nice. I love having written on the, budget sheet, here's what we're anticipating paying, just so we have some kind of account. So maybe just as courtesy or practice, when we have a student starts when we have a student starting the class that we are anticipating submitting a bill for, that's when we let the council know. What do you guys think of that?
Yep, I think that's good. I think we can work on a written document that kind of just spells all that out informally too, I think, for folks. Marla and I can work on that. All right, any other discussion? If not, all those in
Corey,
favor,
the only
please
thing-
say aye. Oh, Mel?
All I was going to say is just we need to make sure students know, just because we have been fortunate enough to be able to pay for the whole classes for every student, that, I mean, it could get to the point where we don't have enough to pay for everybody. So, you know, the money's not guaranteed, but be proactive and get your class complete and, you know.
Yep, agreed. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And if you just would note, Denise, in the minutes that Marla and Corey will work on an informal document spelling this out for all the members of the association. Okay, the other piece, circling back, I would entertain a motion if someone would do so, that we would pre-approve anyone who participates in the Wisconsin EMS conference online this year for payment by the association.
I would make that motion.
Marla makes the motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Mel second. Any discussion?
Just a note that it's not paid ahead of time. Everybody has to get their certificates and submit them before anything's paid.
Right. We would need to have the receipt along with your proof that you got the continuing education hours. And that it says that those hours are not going to be mailed out until mid-December. So it'll be a while till we get those requests. All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Nay. Motion carries. Next would be an update from Hanson Family Hospital. I don't think there's anyone on from Hanson. Okay, Hardin County Public Health, Greenbelt.
Hey, this is Rocky.
Hi, Rocky.
Not a lot of update here, just trying to get our cases figured out as they come in. We just switched reporting systems over to Domo from IDES, so that's been kind of a learning curve, and we're just trying to get that figured out. And I think that's about it for me. We're getting ready for the vaccine to come out. Hopefully, well, initially they said early November, but here we are and there's nothing. So I guess we'll just wait till that comes down the pipeline and go from there.
Great. Any questions for Rocky? Okay, Hardin County Board of Supervisors. BJ, not on here, is he? Not seeing him anywhere. All right, Thomas, emergency management updates.
Excuse me, not a lot. I think I forwarded you guys out the new process for PPE request. I kind of got my hands slapped today by Homeland Security. I went down to Des Moines and picked up straight from the warehouse and Mr. Mercer. And it short-circuited the 3-day process. It happened within, I put the request in and 4 hours later I was picking it up. So their people at Homeland Security were a little upset with that. So we'll be slowing that process down just a little bit and not taking phone calls from Steve when he gets it, says come get it. So, and then we continue to work on getting PPE out to you guys. Denise, I will be bringing, the question I have, I kind of forget what you told me. Did you want it delivered over to you at Hubbard, or did you want it delivered over here so that you could just take it from Eldora?
No, I'm going to be in Eldora tomorrow, so just deliver it to Eldora. That's
Okay.
easier for you too.
And I need to know what size. I have large and I have extra large.
5 of each is fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'll break a case out.
Okay.
Okay. So at one point there was some information came out that we were not able to order some types of PPE. I have since found out that just about any kind of PPE you want is available. I visited the warehouse today. It is a huge warehouse. I think the warehouse is, I think we could probably fit the Iowa Falls Fire Station inside the warehouse is how much room they have stacked up. And Steve Mercer has been stuck in that warehouse ever since it started. He's doing about 14 to 16-hour days in there by himself. They have one desk in there and he's running the forklift, loading trucks and doing all of that. So he also told me today things are going to get worse before they get better. So think about what you have on hand for your PPE. And if you need some, please let me know. I have some here and then I will be getting more in as I take it out. I'll get restocked from our node in Des Moines, which is actually Polk County Public Health or Polk County Emergency Management. So PPE should not be a problem. And then everything else is kind of on hold. I think I also sent you today the new meeting guidelines as far as groups and face masks in those groups. So the only thing I'd say is caution on training and the number of people that you have in training, because she really was pretty serious today about limiting the size of groups that we have and the amount of groups that we get in together. So that's the only thing I have.
Any questions for Thomas?
I don't have any questions for Thomas, but just to add to that, this is Rocky. We do have rapid testing at our office. So if you guys do need anybody rapid tested, just get a hold of me and we can do that. So
What's the criteria for that, Rocky?
it's basically just the same, like symptomatic or close contact we can test.
So we could do that if we had an EMS provider that was supposed to come on shift and we had a concern about that. Would that qualify?
Yeah, I think so. We've kind of done that with some of our home health nurses. If we've had any concerns about them, we've been testing them just because it's better to test them and find out than have them working and be positive. So if you guys need somebody tested, just let me know and we can come out and do that.
Okay, sounds great.
What's your turnover rate for how soon to get back the results, Rocky?
They're rapid, so they take less than 15 minutes.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
And then if that's a positive, then do we need to go on for the PCR, or how does it?
I think it just kind of depends. I know like some long-term cares have said that they have to do that. I don't know. We're just taking it as a positive for home health, but we don't really have a whole lot of guidance. So
Rocky,
yeah.
Clarification on that. The nursing homes were doing that at the beginning, and because of some of the CMS stuff, they've had to do that with some of their cases. But really, the only thing they're sending for PCR testing now is if it comes up negative and that person is still symptomatic, then they do a PCR test and send in because they're just not comfortable with that negative rapid test. So then they send it in. But everything I've been hearing is if you did the rapid test and you're positive, you're positive.
Right. I agree.
Okay.
The other
Sounds
thing
great.
I'd like to add is just remind everybody that if you've been exposed to somebody, remind people that if they've been exposed and then somebody tells them that they have COVID, that person needs to limit their amount of outside. I just had a call today that we had an employee that came to the courthouse, did business in the courthouse, and met with two of our staff. And then after that, told them that he had been exposed to somebody that tested positive today for COVID. So he, in reality, just exposed 2 or 3 more employees in that interaction today, and unnecessarily.
I think that's wise advice for all of us right now.
Well,
Wear
and
our
the other
masks
thing-
and stay home when we can.
Yeah, the other thing to remember is like our return to work is completely different than normal people. So like we could still be working if we've been exposed, and other people really need to be like on our free time, we need to be still quarantining. So that's been kind of tough to explain to people too.
Right. Corey, just FYI, Sheriff McDaniel joined. If you haven't seen him on your
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I thought we were going to get away tonight without him on here.
Well, he hasn't unmuted, so.
I could have used his help tonight in his neighborhood, but he didn't show up.
Do you see his note? He doesn't have a microphone.
Oh,
Oh,
Yay!
small miracle.
That's a bummer.
So, Dave, would you like to use sign language to give your report tonight then? Do you have any updates for us, Dave? Negative. Any questions for Dave? Anybody have anything? Nope. Great. I didn't see Steve, Vanetta, or Merrill. They're not on here, are they? All right. VJ is still not on here for a hazmat update. Thomas, do you have anything on hazmat?
no, I haven't
for us
been
this
to,
month?
I haven't been to the hazmat, been busy here, so.
Okay. Iowa Valley, Jamie, stop. Jamie is off camera. She is
She signed
waving her
language.
arms. I think she has no update for us. Anything you want to say to the crowd? I don't think there's any big update. We've wrapped up some classes. There will be a new class starting in Marshalltown. Probably not till January at this point. We're in the process right now of determining what kind of class might be offered in Hardin County next year. There's been interest in an advanced EMT class. We had kind of put that on hold because there were just some issues with the curriculum and testing sites and things like that. But now that the state has expanded that scope of practice for the advanced EMT, there's some new interest in that. In some ways, it's almost like a paramedic light curriculum, which I think could be beneficial for a lot of communities for us. So we're looking at that. Unfortunately, that's a very expensive class to offer, and it'd be unlikely that we'd be able to send too many students to that, if any, on the county funds, because they'd get depleted pretty fast. But certainly if there's agencies that would want to do that, we're looking into that, working with our advisory boards at Iowa Valley, and stay tuned for some information on that. And probably if that doesn't happen, then it will most certainly be an EMT class that gets offered sometime after the first of the year.
Corey, as soon as you have information.
Oh, yes, and there's also, sorry, one more thing. There's also a first responder class that will be starting in Steamboat Rock, also in January, I believe.
As soon as you have any information on that basic class that's going to start in January, like is it going to be a hybrid? Do they have to, is it going to be in a classroom or any information like that? If you could share that with me, that would be great.
Yep, we will do that.
Trying to recruit, so.
And stay in touch with us too, and let us know what you have for students. There hasn't been a lot of interest that we've heard of yet in other parts of the county. I think part of that's because we had a real big class last year, this year. So if you have interest, please let us know so we can.
Okay, I'll put a little more pressure on a couple people and try and get you some numbers in the next week or two.
Yep, sounds good.
Thanks.
Okay. Now, Ben had on old business officer elections. Are you trying to get rid of us already, Ben?
No, I just put that on the old business for last month.
He must want to be president again.
Were there issues with the vote totals last month and we need to revisit that?
I don't think so. I'm no longer the president, so it's really, I'm happy to give that job up. So if that could be your old ball of wax.
Okay. Does anybody have any new business? All right, so next meeting is scheduled for Eldora. I would be surprised if we are able to do that face-to-face, but we'll certainly let you know. And if we don't do it face-to-face, we'll probably be back here in a virtual environment. So that's great. Everybody stay safe out there, please. It's things are getting interesting here in Hardin County. And I know it's certainly taken a toll on my crews, and I know that that's the same for many of you as well. So please give all of them our best. Thank them on behalf of the county, and we'll get through this together one way or another. If nobody has anything else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Marla. Is there a second?
All motion.
Melanie seconds that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? If anyone opposed, you can just hang out and talk to Thomas for a while. The rest of us are going to sign off, I think. So thanks everybody for joining tonight, and we'll see you back here in a couple months.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you.
Thank you.